Elena Morales thought saving a bleeding stranger's life would earn her a thank you card. Instead, it earned her a death sentence. One act of compassion in a rain-soaked alley turned her quiet life upside down, dragging her and her mute 8-year-old brother into the deadly world of Mafia boss Nico DeLuca. But when black SUVs surrounded her apartment building the next morning, Elena realized the real danger wasn't the criminal she'd rescued. It was falling for him. What started as a desperate fight for survival became something far more dangerous. A love story written in blood, betrayal, and bullets. By the time Elena discovered Nico's darkest secret, it was already too late to run. The man she'd saved was about to become either her salvation or her destruction. And only one of them would survive to see which. Subscribe and comment if you've ever made a decision that changed everything, because this story is about to get more twisted than you can imagine. Elena pulled her jacket tighter against the October wind. The diner's neon sign buzzed overhead, casting pink shadows on the empty street. She counted the tips in her apron pocket. $23. Not enough for rent, never enough for anything. "Long shift?" asked Marcus, the night cook, as he locked the back door. "Always is." Elena's voice was tired. Her phone buzzed, a text from Mrs. Rodriguez upstairs. "Mateo fell asleep watching TV. Come get him when you're ready." Elena felt grateful for her neighbor's help. Mrs. Rodriguez never asked questions about why an 8-year-old needed watching so late. She just opened her door and made hot chocolate for Mateo while Elena worked. The walk to their building took 10 minutes. Elena's feet ached in her worn sneakers. The streetlights flickered, throwing uneven shadows across broken sidewalks. A police siren wailed somewhere in the distance. Elena climbed 3 flights of stairs. The hallway smelled like cigarettes and old food. She knocked softly on Mrs. Rodriguez's door. "How was he?" Elena asked when the door opened. "Good as always. Drew you a picture." Mrs. Rodriguez handed Elena a folded paper. "That boy has talent." Elena looked at the drawing. Mateo had sketched her in her diner uniform, smiling. Her chest tightened with love and worry. "Thank you for watching him." "Any time, mija. He's a sweet boy." Elena found Mateo curled on Mrs. Rodriguez's couch, his dark hair falling across his face. His stuffed bear sat tucked under one arm. She touched his shoulder gently. His eyes opened. He looked at her and smiled without making a sound. "Ready to go home?" Elena asked. Mateo nodded and sat up. He never spoke anymore, not since their parents died 2 years ago. The doctors said trauma could do that to children. They said he might talk again someday. Elena hoped they were right. "Say good night to Mrs. Rodriguez," Elena said. Mateo waved politely. Mrs. Rodriguez ruffled his hair. "Sleep well, both of you." Elena and Mateo walked down the hall to their apartment. Elena unlocked 3 deadbolts and a chain lock. Inside, the small space felt cramped and cold. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen barely big enough for one person, and a living room with a couch from the thrift store. But it was theirs. Elena had fought the landlord, social services, and her own fear to keep it. "Brush your teeth," Elena said. "I'll make hot chocolate." Mateo nodded and headed to the bathroom. Elena turned on the stove and opened the cabinet. 2 packets of instant cocoa left. She would have to buy more tomorrow with money she didn't have. The water boiled. Elena stirred the powder and tried not to think about the eviction notice taped to their door last week. $300 behind on rent. She had until Friday to pay, or they would lose their home. "Here you go." Elena handed Mateo his mug when he came back. They sat on the couch together. Mateo leaned against her side while he drank. Elena stroked his hair and felt her shoulders relax for the first time all day. "Tomorrow will be better." she said quietly. I promise. Matteo looked up at her with serious brown eyes. Sometimes Elena thought he understood too much for an 8-year-old. A car backfired outside. Matteo jumped and spilled cocoa on his pajamas. It's okay, Elena said. Just a car. But her voice was tense. The neighborhood had gotten worse lately. Drug deals in the alley, fights on the street corner. Elena kept the curtains closed after dark. Let's get you cleaned up and into bed. Elena helped Matteo change shirts. She tucked him into his narrow bed and sat on the edge of the mattress. Want me to read tonight? She asked. Matteo shook his head and pointed to his drawing pad on the nightstand. You want to draw? He nodded. Elena handed him the pad and a pencil. Matteo started sketching while Elena watched. His small hands moved quickly, creating shapes and shadows with careful precision. You're getting so good at that, Elena said. Matteo smiled but didn't look up from his work. Elena kissed his forehead. I'll be right in the other room if you need anything. She left his door cracked open and walked to the kitchen. The sink was full of dishes she hadn't had time to wash. The refrigerator hummed loudly, threatening to break down again. Elena sat at their small table and pulled out her checkbook. She added up bills and subtracted her paycheck. The numbers always came out wrong. Her phone buzzed. A text from her boss. Can you pick up a double tomorrow? Stephanie called in sick. Elena typed back, yes. 2 shifts meant 16 hours on her feet. It also meant an extra $80 in tips if she was lucky. Rain started patting against the windows. Elena closed her checkbook and rubbed her tired eyes. She needed sleep before tomorrow's long day. A loud crack echoed from the alley below. Elena froze. That wasn't a car backfiring. That was a gunshot. She crept to the living room window and pulled the curtain back an inch. The alley behind their building was dark except for one flickering streetlight. A figure stumbled between the dumpsters, a man in a dark coat moving wrong. He took 3 steps and collapsed. Elena's breath caught. The man wasn't moving. She should close the curtain, call 911, stay inside where it was safe. Instead, she watched the man try to push himself up with shaking arms. Blood gleamed on the wet pavement under the streetlight. Elena thought about Matteo sleeping in the next room, about staying safe and minding their own business, about all the reasons she should pretend she hadn't seen anything. The man collapsed again. Elena felt fear and compassion fighting in her chest. Compassion won. She grabbed her jacket and house keys. She opened the door slowly and checked the hallway. Empty. Elena locked the door behind her and hurried down the back stairs. The alley smelled like garbage and rain. Elena's sneakers splashed through puddles as she approached the fallen man. Sir, are you okay? Stupid question. Blood soaked through his dark shirt. His face was pale, eyes closed. Elena knelt beside him. Can you hear me? His eyes opened, dark blue, sharp even through pain. He stared at her for a long moment. Don't, he said. His voice was rough with pain. Don't what? Don't call police. Elena felt her stomach drop. You need help. You're bleeding. No police. The man tried to sit up and winced. Please. Elena looked around the empty alley. Whoever shot this man might come back. She should run inside and lock her door. I can't just leave you here, she said. You should. His eyes found hers. You should run. Something in his voice made Elena's chest tighten with fear, but she didn't run. Can you walk? She asked. Maybe. Elena helped him sit up. He was heavy, all muscle and broad shoulders. His coat was expensive, she noticed. Dark wool, well-tailored. Not the kind of coat people in her neighborhood could afford. My apartment is right there, Elena said, pointing to the back door. No, too dangerous. More dangerous than bleeding to death in an alley? The man almost smiled. You don't understand. Then explain it to me. He studied her face in the dim light. What's your name? Elena. Elena. He said it carefully. I'm Nico. Nice to meet you, Nico. Now let me help you before you pass out. Nico leaned heavily on Elena as they stood. Blood dripped from his coat onto her shoes. Elena felt his weight and wondered what she was getting herself into. They made it to the back door. Elena fumbled with her keys while Nico sagged against the brick wall. 3rd floor, Elena said. Can't make it that far. You have to. Elena half carried him up the stairs. By the 2nd floor, Nico was breathing hard. By the 3rd floor, his skin was gray with pain. Elena unlocked her door and helped Nico inside. She locked all 3 deadbolts behind them. Bathroom, Elena said. You need to sit down. She guided Nico to the small bathroom and lowered him onto the closed toilet seat. Blood stained her jacket and hands. Let me see the wound, Elena said. Nico opened his coat. The bullet had torn through his white shirt just below his ribs. Blood seeped through the fabric. Elena felt sick but forced herself to focus. She pulled towels from the linen closet and ran water in the sink. This is going to hurt, she said. I've had worse. Elena pressed a wet towel against the wound. Nico's jaw tightened, but he didn't make a sound. The bullet went through, Elena said. That's good, right? Better than the alternative. Elena cleaned around the wound as gently as she could. The bleeding was slowing down. Do you have medical training? Nico asked. I watch a lot of TV. Elena tried to smile. And I have a first aid kit from when Matteo was learning to ride his bike. Matteo? My brother. He's 8. Elena found bandages in the medicine cabinet. He's sleeping. Your parents? Dead. Elena's voice was flat. Car accident 2 years ago. I'm sorry. Elena looked at Nico's face. He meant it. Pain had etched lines around his eyes, but his expression was sincere. Why can't I call 911? Elena asked. Because the people who shot me will come looking. Anyone who helps me becomes a target. Elena's hand stilled on the bandage. What kind of people? The kind you don't want to meet. Fear crawled up Elena's spine. Are you a criminal? Nico was quiet for a long moment. Yes. Elena stepped back. What kind of criminal? The kind that's going to get you killed if you don't listen to me very carefully. Elena's breath caught. She looked toward Matteo's bedroom door. I need you to pack a bag, Nico said, for you and your brother, right now. We're not going anywhere with you. Then you're both dead by morning. Elena felt the bathroom walls closing in around her. You're lying. I wish I was. Nico's voice was tired. My enemies don't leave witnesses. Then why did you let me help you? Because you were going to, anyway. I could see it in your face. Nico winced as he adjusted his position. You couldn't walk away from someone bleeding in an alley. Elena stared at him. That's my fault? No, it's mine. Something shifted in Nico's expression. But that doesn't change what happens next. A sound from the living room made them both freeze. The front door rattled against its locks. Elena's blood turned to ice. Elena? A man's voice called through the door. Open up. We know you're in there. Nico pushed himself upright despite the pain. He reached inside his coat and pulled out a gun. Get your brother, he said quietly. Now. Elena ran to Matteo's room. Her brother was sitting up in bed, clutching his stuffed bear. His eyes were wide with fear. It's okay, Elena whispered. She grabbed his clothes from the dresser. Get dressed quickly. The front door rattled again. Harder this time. Elena helped Matteo into jeans and a sweatshirt. She stuffed more clothes into his backpack along with his Drawing supplies. Elena! The voice outside was getting impatient. Don't make this difficult. Elena grabbed Mateo's hand and led him to the bathroom. Nico was standing now, gun in hand. Blood had soaked through the bandage on his ribs. Back door? Nico asked. Down the hall, but it leads to the alley where I found you. Fire escape? Bedroom window. The front door shook as someone threw their weight against it. The chain lock rattled. Move, Nico said. Elena led them to her bedroom. She opened the window and looked down at the fire escape, 3 stories to the alley below. Can you make it? Elena asked Nico. I'll have to. The chain lock on the front door snapped. Nico grabbed Elena's shoulder. Whatever happens, stay behind me. Don't let them see your brother's face. Elena felt terror and rage fighting in her chest. These people had invaded her home, threatened her family. Why is this happening? She asked. I'll explain later. Right now we run. Heavy footsteps entered the apartment. Nico climbed through the window first. Elena lifted Mateo and passed him through. Her brother's small hands gripped the fire escape railing. Elena followed them onto the metal platform. The rain had stopped, but the air was cold and wet. Down, Nico said quietly. They climbed down 1 flight, then 2. Elena's hand shook on the wet metal. Mateo moved carefully, his face pale with fear. Voices echoed from Elena's apartment window above. They're not here. Check the roof. Check everywhere. Elena felt Mateo's terror through his grip on her hand. She squeezed his fingers gently. They reached the alley. Nico moved toward the street, gun still drawn. Elena pulled Mateo close to her side. My car, Nico said, pointing to a black sedan parked across the street. They hurried across the empty road. Nico's breathing was labored. The bandage under his coat was dark with fresh blood. Keys? Elena asked. Nico handed them to her. You drive. Elena had never driven a car this expensive. The engine purred to life when she turned the key. Where are we going? Elena asked. Away from here. Elena pulled into traffic. In the rearview mirror, she saw men in dark clothes searching the alley behind her building. Are we safe now? Elena asked. Nico was slumped against the passenger door, face gray with pain. No, we're never going to be safe. Elena felt tears burning behind her eyes. In the back seat, Mateo sat silently, clutching his bear. I don't understand any of this, Elena said. I know. Nico's voice was getting weaker. I'm sorry. Elena drove through empty streets, following Nico's quiet directions. They left her neighborhood behind, passing through better areas with nice houses and tree-lined streets. Turn here, Nico said. Elena turned into a long driveway that led to iron gates. The gates opened automatically as they approached. Elena's breath caught. The house beyond the gates was enormous, a mansion with white columns and manicured gardens. This is where you live? Elena asked. Yes. Elena parked in front of the main entrance. The front door opened before they could get out of the car. A woman in her 50s hurried down the steps. She wore a dark dress and had kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Mr. DeLuca, the woman said, opening Nico's door. You're hurt. I'm fine, Vera. Nico tried to stand and swayed. You're not fine. Vera looked at Elena and Mateo. Who are they? Elena and Mateo Morales. They're under my protection now. Elena felt a chill at his words. Protection, not guests, not friends, prisoners. Get them inside, Nico said. Have Marcus call Dr. Santos. Vera nodded and turned to Elena. Come with me, dear. Bring your brother. Elena hesitated. Once they went inside that house, there would be no going back. Elena? Nico's voice was strained. I know this is frightening, but inside those walls, you're safe. Out here, you're not. Elena looked at Mateo. Her brother's face was pale and exhausted. He needed sleep, safety, time to process what had happened. "Okay," Elena said, "but just for tonight." Nico almost smiled. "Sure, just for tonight." Elena took Mateo's hand and followed Vera into the house. The entrance hall was bigger than their entire apartment. Crystal chandeliers hung from a ceiling painted with angels and clouds. "This way," Vera said gently. Elena felt Mateo's wonder through his grip on her hand. He stared at the marble floors and elegant furniture with wide eyes. "Are you hungry?" Vera asked. "Tired?" "Both," Elena said. "I'll show you to your rooms. You can rest while Dr. Santos looks at Mr. DeLuca." Vera led them up a curved staircase to the second floor. She opened a door to reveal a bedroom larger than Elena's living room. The bed had a white comforter and dozens of pillows. French doors led to a balcony overlooking gardens. "This is beautiful," Elena said. "Your brother's room is right next door." Vera opened a connecting door. "I thought you'd want to stay close." Elena felt grateful and suspicious at the same time. These people were being very accommodating for kidnappers. "Thank you," Elena said. "There are clothes in the closets if you need them. Bathroom supplies in the drawers." Vera's voice was warm. "Ring the bell by the bed if you need anything." "Vera?" Elena said as the older woman turned to leave. "Yes." "What kind of man is Nico DeLuca?" Vera was quiet for a moment. "A complicated one, but he keeps his promises." After Vera left, Elena helped Mateo explore his new room. It had a twin bed with a blue comforter and shelves full of books and toys. "This is nice, isn't it?" Elena said. Mateo nodded but stayed close to her side. "Are you scared?" Elena asked. Mateo nodded again. "Me too." Elena sat on the bed and pulled him into her lap. "But we're safe here." Nico promised. Elena wished she believed her own words. They shared a bath in the enormous bathroom attached to Elena's room. Mateo found bubble bath under the sink and poured half the bottle into the water. Elena laughed for the first time all night. "That's enough bubbles for 10 baths." Mateo grinned and splashed gently. After bath time, Elena tucked Mateo into his new bed. She found pajamas in his dresser that fit perfectly. How did they know his size? Elena wondered aloud. Mateo pointed to himself, then to Elena, then made a questioning gesture with his hands. "You want to know if we're staying here?" Mateo nodded. Elena felt her chest tighten. "I don't know. For now, yes." Mateo seemed satisfied with that answer. Elena kissed his forehead and left the connecting door open between their rooms. Elena took a shower in her own bathroom. The water was hot and the soap smelled like lavender. She found a soft robe hanging on the back of the door. When she came out of the bathroom, there was a tray of food waiting on her nightstand. Sandwiches, fruit, milk, and cookies. Elena realized she hadn't eaten since lunch. She ate while sitting on the bed, looking out at the gardens through the French doors. Security lights illuminated stone pathways and flower beds. Elena thought about their apartment 3 miles away. Were those men still searching for them? Had they destroyed her belongings? Everything she and Mateo owned was in that small space. Photos of their parents, Mateo's drawings, Elena's books. Their whole life. Gone now. Because she had helped a stranger in an alley. Elena felt anger rising in her throat. She hadn't asked for any of this. She was just trying to take care of her brother and pay their bills. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Elena tightened her robe and opened the door. Nico stood in the hallway. He wore clean clothes now, and his color was better. A white bandage showed through his partially unbuttoned shirt. "How are you feeling?" Elena asked. "Better. Dr. Santos stitched me up." Nico studied her face. "How are you?" "Angry." "Good. Angry is better than terrified." Elena stepped into the hallway and closed her door quietly. What happens now? Now you stay here while I deal with the people who tried to kill me. And then? Then we figure out what comes next. Elena felt frustration building in her chest. That's not good enough. I need real answers. The real answer is that my enemies know you helped me. They saw you leave the building with me. Your face, your brother's face. So they'll never stop looking for you. Nico's voice was gentle but firm. Going back to your old life isn't an option anymore. Elena felt the walls of her new world closing in. You're saying we can never leave. I'm saying you're safer here than anywhere else. Safe or trapped. Nico was quiet for a long moment. Both. Elena wanted to hit him. She wanted to scream and demand her life back. Instead, she asked, "Who are you really?" Someone who makes his living in dangerous ways. Drugs? No. Protection. Information. Favors. Nico met her eyes. I run an organization that operates outside the law. The Mafia. Yes. Elena felt dizzy. And now we're part of it. No, you're under my protection. That's different. Is it? Nico stepped closer. Elena, I know this isn't what you wanted, but I will keep you and Matteo safe. I give you my word. The word of a criminal. The word of a man who understands what it means to lose family. Something in Nico's voice made Elena look at his face more carefully. She saw grief there, old and deep. You've lost someone, she said. Yes. Who? Nico was quiet for so long, Elena thought he wouldn't answer. My daughter, he said finally. She was 6. Elena's breath caught. What happened? Someone tried to hurt me through her. Nico's voice was barely above a whisper. They succeeded. Elena felt her anger drain away. I'm sorry. So am I. Nico looked toward Matteo's door. That's why I won't let anyone hurt you or your brother, not while I'm alive to prevent it. Elena studied his face. She saw pain, determination, and something else. Something that looked almost like hope. Okay, she said. Okay. We'll stay, for now. Elena's voice was firm, but I want to understand how this world works. I want to know what we're up against. I'll teach you, and I want to help. Nico frowned. Help with what? Whatever needs doing. I'm not going to sit in a pretty room and be useless. Elena, I mean it. If this is our life now, then I need to have a purpose. Nico studied her face. You're stronger than I expected. I raised an 8-year-old alone for 2 years. I'm stronger than you know. Something shifted in Nico's expression. Respect, maybe, or admiration. Get some sleep, he said. Tomorrow we'll figure out the details. Elena watched him walk down the hallway. His steps were careful but steady. She went back into her room and checked on Matteo through the connecting door. He was sleeping peacefully, his bear tucked under one arm. Elena sat on her bed and looked out at the gardens. This place was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. A prison made of silk and marble. But Matteo was safe. That was what mattered. Elena closed her eyes and tried not to think about everything they had lost. Tomorrow she would start building their new life, whatever that looked like. Tonight, she would be grateful they were alive. Elena fell asleep to the sound of rain beginning again outside her window. In the distance, she could hear the faint hum of security cameras and the quiet footsteps of guards patrolling the grounds. Even in sleep, she felt the weight of watching eyes. Even in this beautiful prison, freedom was only a memory. Elena woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then reality crashed back. The mansion. Nico DeLuca. Their old life, gone forever. She checked the clock on the nightstand. 9 in the morning. Elena never slept this late. At home, she would be getting ready for her shift at the diner. Home. Elena felt her chest tighten. Did she still have a home? A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Elena found a silk robe in the closet and opened the door. Vera stood in the hallway with a breakfast tray. "Good morning, dear. How did you sleep?" "Better than expected." Elena accepted the tray. Coffee, fresh fruit, eggs, and toast cut into perfect triangles. "Thank you." "Your brother is awake. He's in the kitchen with the staff. They're teaching him to make pancakes." Elena felt alarmed. "He doesn't talk to strangers." "He's not talking, but he's listening." And he smiled when Maria showed him how to flip them. Elena relaxed slightly. Matteo was adapting faster than she expected. "Mr. DeLuca would like to see you after breakfast," Vera said. "He's in his office." "Is he feeling better?" "Much better. Dr. Santos says he heals quickly." Vera's expression grew serious. "He wants to discuss your situation." Elena nodded. She had questions that needed answers. After Vera left, Elena ate breakfast and showered. She found clothes in the closet that fit perfectly. Jeans, sweaters, everything in her exact size. Elena felt unsettled. How long had Nico been planning this? She went downstairs to find Matteo. The kitchen was enormous, with white cabinets and granite counters. 3 women in aprons worked at different stations. Matteo stood on a step stool next to the stove. A young woman with kind eyes guided his hands as he flipped a pancake. "Perfecto," the woman said. "You're a natural chef." Matteo grinned and looked proud of himself. Elena felt her heart squeeze with love and worry. "There's Mama," said an older woman with gray hair. "Matteo has been helping us all morning." Elena forced a smile. "I hope he's not causing trouble." "No trouble. He's delightful." The woman handed Elena a plate of fresh pancakes. "I'm Maria, the head cook. These 2 are Rosa and Carmen." "Nice to meet you all." Elena kept her voice polite but distant. She didn't want Matteo getting too attached to this place. "Mr. DeLuca is waiting for you," Maria said. "Matteo can stay here if you'd like." Elena looked at her brother. He was already reaching for another pancake to flip. "Is that okay?" Elena asked him. Matteo nodded happily. Elena kissed his forehead. "I'll be back soon." Vera appeared to escort Elena to Nico's office. They walked through hallways lined with expensive paintings and antique furniture. "How long have you worked here?" Elena asked. 15 years. "Since before—" Vera's voice trailed off. "Before what?" "Before Mr. DeLuca lost his daughter. I helped raise Isabella from birth." Elena felt her stomach clench. What was she like? "Bright, curious. She loved to draw, just like your brother." Vera stopped outside a heavy wooden door. "Mr. DeLuca hasn't been the same since she died. You're the first people he's brought here in 3 years." Vera knocked and opened the door without waiting for an answer. Nico's office was dark and masculine. Leather furniture, floor to ceiling, bookshelves, windows that faced the gardens. Nico sat behind a massive desk, talking quietly into a phone. "Find them," he was saying. "I want to know everything, where they went, who they work for, how they knew to look for me there." He hung up when he saw Elena. "Good morning. How did you sleep?" "Fine." Elena sat in the chair across from his desk. "We need to talk." "Yes, we do." Nico opened a folder and pulled out several photographs. "Do you recognize any of these men?" Elena looked at the pictures. They showed men in dark suits, some getting out of cars, others standing on street corners. "No," Elena said. "Should I?" "These are Lorenzo Caruso's men. They're the ones who shot me. They're also the ones who searched your apartment last night." Elena felt cold. Did they find anything? They took your laptop and some papers, looking for information about me, probably. I don't know anything about you. They don't know that. Nico put the photos back in the folder. Caruso thinks you're important to me. That makes you valuable. Elena felt anger rising in her chest. I'm not valuable to anyone. I'm just a waitress who made a stupid mistake. It wasn't stupid, it was compassionate. Same thing, apparently. Nico almost smiled. Sometimes. Elena leaned forward. What does Caruso want with you? Territory, money, power. Nico's voice was calm. The usual things men like us fight over. Men like you? Men who chose violence as a way of life. Elena studied his face. Did you choose it? Nico was quiet for a long moment. I thought I did. Now I'm not sure. What changed your mind? Losing Isabella. Elena felt her chest tighten with sympathy. How did it happen? Nico's jaw tensed. Caruso planted a bomb in her school, meant for me. I was supposed to pick her up that day. Elena's breath caught. Oh, God. I was late. Business meeting ran long. Nico's voice was barely above a whisper. If I had been on time, I would have died with her. Elena felt tears burning behind her eyes. How do you live with that? By making sure it never happens to anyone else. Is that why you saved us? I saved you because you saved me. Nico met her eyes. But I'm protecting you because I won't let Caruso hurt another child. Elena felt something shift in her understanding of this man. He wasn't just a criminal. He was a father trying to make sense of an impossible loss. What happens next? Elena asked. Caruso will try to use you against me. He'll threaten to hurt you and Matteo unless I give him what he wants. Which is? Everything I own. My territory, my businesses, my life. Elena felt fear crawling up her spine. And if you don't? Then he kills you slowly and makes sure I watch. Elena's hands started shaking. That's not going to happen. No, it's not. Nico's voice was hard. Because I'm going to kill him first. Elena stared at him. The casual way he said it made her stomach turn. You're talking about murder. I'm talking about survival. There has to be another way. Men like Caruso don't negotiate. They take what they want and destroy everything else. Elena felt trapped between fear and revulsion. So violence is your only solution? Violence is the only language Caruso understands. Elena stood up and walked to the window. The gardens looked peaceful in the morning light. Hard to believe this beautiful place was the center of a war. What if Matteo and I just disappeared? Elena asked. Left the country, changed our names. He'd find you. You don't know that. I do know that. Caruso has connections everywhere. Money, resources, patience. Nico's voice was gentle but firm. You can't run far enough to escape him. Elena felt tears threatening. So we're prisoners here forever. You're safe here forever. Same thing. No, it's not. Nico stood and joined her at the window. Prisoners don't get to choose. You have choices. Like what? Like helping me end this. Elena turned to face him. How? Caruso thinks you're my weakness. Let him think that. When he comes for you, we'll be ready. You want to use us as bait. I want to use his assumptions against him. Elena felt sick. And if something goes wrong, if he gets to us before you can stop him, that won't happen. You can't guarantee that. Nico was quiet for a moment. Then he said, You're right. I can't. But I can promise you this. I will die before I let anyone hurt you or Matteo. Elena searched his face. She saw determination, grief, and something else. Something that looked almost like love. Not for her, for the daughter he couldn't save. Okay, Elena said finally. Okay, I'll help you. But I have conditions. Nico raised an eyebrow. Such as? I want to know everything. No more secrets, no more half-truths. If I'm risking my brother's life, I need to understand what we're facing. Agreed. And I want Matteo kept out of it. Whatever we do, he stays protected. Of course. And when this is over, when Caruso is gone, I want you to help us build a real life. Not as your prisoners, not as your responsibility. As free people. Nico studied her face. What kind of life? I don't know yet, but something normal, something safe. Elena's voice grew stronger. Matteo deserves a childhood. I deserve a future that's my own. And if I can't give you that, then you'd better hope Caruso kills you before I do. Nico laughed, a real laugh, surprised and genuine. You're tougher than you look, he said. I have to be. A knock on the door interrupted them. A man in an expensive suit entered without waiting for permission. Sorry to interrupt, the man said. We have a problem. Elena felt Nico's energy change. His whole body tensed with alertness. What kind of problem, Rafe? Nico asked. Caruso's people hit 3 of our businesses last night. Restaurants on 5th Street, the nightclub downtown, and the warehouse in Brooklyn. Elena watched Nico's face darken with anger. Casualties? Nico asked. 2 dead, 5 injured, all civilians. Nico's jaw clenched. He's sending a message. Loud and clear. He wants you to know he can reach anyone, anywhere. Elena felt cold dread settling in her stomach. What does this mean? Rafe looked at her with suspicious eyes. Who's asking? Someone who's apparently stuck in the middle of your war, Elena said sharply. Rafe turned to Nico. You told her. She has a right to know. She has a right to keep her mouth shut and stay out of our business. Elena felt anger flare in her chest. Your business became my business when those men broke into my apartment. Your business became our problem when you couldn't mind your own. Enough. Nico's voice cut through the tension. Rafe, Elena is under my protection. You'll treat her with respect. Rafe's face flushed with anger, but he nodded curtly. Elena felt a strange satisfaction at watching this dangerous man back down. What's our response? Rafe asked Nico. We hit back, twice as hard. Which targets? All of them. I want Caruso to understand that touching innocent people was a mistake. Elena felt sick listening to them plan violence so casually. What about the girl and her brother? Rafe asked, jerking his head toward Elena. They stay here. Maximum security. Boss, with all respect, they're a liability. Caruso knows they're important to you now. Every day they're alive is another day he can use them against you. Elena's blood turned to ice. Are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we end this problem before it gets worse. Elena stood up, fury overwhelming her fear. That problem is an 8-year-old boy who never hurt anyone. That 8-year-old boy is going to get us all killed. Rafe. Nico's voice was deadly quiet. You're out of line. Am I? Or am I the only one thinking clearly? Rafe turned to face Nico. You're letting emotion cloud your judgment. Again. Elena saw something dangerous flash in Nico's eyes. Careful, Nico said. Someone has to say it. You couldn't protect Isabella. You can't protect them either. All you're doing is giving Caruso more weapons to use against you. Nico moved faster than Elena could follow. 1 second, Rafe was standing by the door. The next second, Nico had him pinned against the wall, forearm pressed against his throat. Never, Nico said softly. Mention my daughter again. Rafe's face was turning red, but his eyes stayed defiant. Elena felt terrified and impressed at the same time. Nico might be a criminal, but he was also utterly committed to protecting them. "Boss," Rafe wheezed. "Can't breathe." Nico held him for another few seconds, then stepped back. Rafe rubbed his throat and straightened his tie. "Point taken." "Good. Now go coordinate our response to Caruso's attacks. I want targets hit by tonight." "What about additional security here?" "Double the guards. No one gets within a mile of this house without clearance." Rafe nodded and left without looking at Elena again. Elena sank back into her chair, hands shaking with adrenaline. "I'm sorry you had to see that," Nico said. "Are you sorry you did it?" "No." Elena felt something warm and confusing in her chest. When was the last time someone had defended her that fiercely? "He's not wrong, though," Elena said. "We are a liability. Your people I chose to protect. Even if it costs you everything?" Nico met her eyes. "Yes." Elena felt her breath catch. The intensity in his voice made her stomach flutter with something that definitely wasn't fear. "Why?" she asked. "Because some things are more important than power or territory or revenge." "Such as?" "Doing the right thing, even when it's hard." Elena studied his face. "Is that what you're doing? The right thing?" "I'm trying to." A commotion outside made them both turn toward the window. Elena saw Matteo running across the garden, laughing silently as one of the guards chased him in a game of tag. Her brother looked happier than he had in months. "He likes it here," Nico said quietly. "He likes feeling safe." "So do you." Elena looked at Nico. "Is that what I feel?" "You tell me." Elena thought about it. Despite everything, the violence, the danger, the uncertainty, she did feel safer than she had in a long time. Not just physically safe, but emotionally safe. Matteo was being cared for by people who seemed to genuinely like him. Elena was sleeping in a comfortable bed without worrying about rent or bills or whether they would have enough food. For the first time in 2 years, Elena wasn't carrying the weight of their survival alone. "Maybe," she admitted. Nico smiled. "Progress. Don't get too excited. I still think you're dangerous." "I am dangerous, but not to you." Elena felt that flutter in her stomach again. "How can I be sure?" "Because you're the first thing I've tried to protect since Isabella died. I won't fail again." Elena wanted to believe him. God help her, she was starting to. "What happens now?" Elena asked. "Now we prepare for war." "And after the war?" "After the war, we figure out what peace looks like." Elena nodded. She looked out at Matteo playing in the garden, surrounded by armed guards who were treating him like a nephew. Maybe this strange, violent world could become home after all. Maybe Nico DeLuca could keep his promises. Elena hoped she wasn't making another mistake. But watching Matteo laugh in the sunshine, she thought maybe some mistakes were worth making. 3 weeks passed in the strange rhythm of their new life. Elena woke each morning to breakfast trays and Vera's gentle questions about what she needed. Matteo spent his days in the kitchen with Maria, learning to cook, or in the library with books that made his eyes light up with wonder. Elena felt restless. She wandered the mansion's halls, learning its layout. 37 rooms she counted. A ballroom with crystal chandeliers. A wine cellar that stretched like a cave beneath the house. A gym where she found Nico lifting weights despite his healing wound. "You should be resting," Elena said from the doorway. Nico set down the barbell and reached for a towel. "Can't afford to rest." Elena entered the gym, noting how his muscles moved under his t-shirt. She felt heat rise in her cheeks and forced herself to look away. "Any word about Caruso?" Elena asked. "He's planning something. My sources say he's bringing in outside help." "What kind of help?" "The kind that specializes in making people disappear." Elena felt her stomach drop. "Professional killers. Yes. Elena sat on a weight bench, suddenly needing support. How many? At least 6, maybe more. Nico wiped sweat from his face. They'll try to breach the house within the week. And you think you can stop them? I think I'll die trying. Elena's breath caught at his casual tone. That's not reassuring. It's realistic. Elena stood up, anger flaring. So that's it? We sit here and wait to die? You sit here and stay safe. I handle the threat. By getting yourself killed. If necessary. Elena wanted to shake him. What happens to Matteo and me if you die? Something shifted in Nico's expression. Vera has instructions. Money, new identities, a house in Colorado far from any of this. Elena felt tears burning behind her eyes. You've thought of everything. I try to. Except staying alive. I'm not planning to die, Elena, but I'm prepared for it. Elena studied his face. She saw resignation there and something that looked almost like relief. You want to die? She said quietly. No. You do. You want to be with your daughter? Nico's jaw tightened. That's not... It is. You're looking for an honorable way to give up. Nico turned away from her. You don't understand. Then explain it to me. Some things can't be explained. Elena felt frustration building in her chest. Try. Nico was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I've been dead inside since Isabella died. Going through motions, making money, hurting people who hurt me. But not really living. And now? Now I have something worth protecting again. Something worth living for. Elena's heart skipped a beat. Matteo, and you. Elena felt the air leave her lungs. Nico, I know it's complicated. I know I'm the last person you should care about. You're right, you are. But you do care. I can see it in your eyes. Elena wanted to deny it. She should deny it. This man was dangerous, violent, completely wrong for her. She was falling for him anyway. It doesn't matter what I feel, Elena said. It's the only thing that matters. Elena backed toward the door. I can't do this. Elena, wait. No, this is insane. You're a criminal. I'm nobody. We live in different worlds. Not anymore. Elena stopped at the threshold. What's that supposed to mean? It means your world and mine merged the night you found me bleeding in that alley. There's no going back. Elena felt trapped between desire and common sense. There has to be. Why? Because I can't fall in love with someone who might die tomorrow. The words hung in the air between them. Elena felt exposed, vulnerable. Nico stepped closer. Who says I'm dying tomorrow? You did, just now. Die trying, remember? That's not the same thing. Isn't it? Nico reached for her hand. Elena let him take it, feeling electricity shoot up her arm. I'm going to survive this, Nico said quietly. We're going to survive this, together. Elena wanted to believe him. You can't promise that. I can promise to fight for it. Elena looked into his eyes and saw determination, hope, and something deeper, something that made her chest tight with longing. Elena, Matteo's voice echoed from somewhere in the house. Elena pulled her hand away from Nico's. He's looking for me. We're not finished with this conversation. Yes, we are. Elena left the gym before she could do something stupid, like kiss him, like tell him she was falling for him too. She found Matteo in the kitchen, proudly displaying a chocolate cake he had decorated with Maria's help. It's beautiful, Elena said, forcing enthusiasm into her voice. Matteo beamed and pointed to himself, then to Elena, then to the cake. You made this for me? Elena asked. Matteo nodded vigorously. Elena felt her heart squeeze with love. Thank you, baby. It's perfect. Maria cut them each a slice. The cake was rich and sweet, made with ingredients Elena could never afford. "Matteo wanted to surprise you," Maria said. "He's been planning this all week." Elena looked at her brother. He was chocolate-faced and grinning, completely at ease in this strange new world. "He's settling in well," Maria continued. "The other staff adore him." "He's easy to love," Elena said. "So are you." Elena looked up, surprised. Maria was smiling at her with motherly warmth. "The whole house is different since you arrived," Maria said. "Lighter somehow." "I don't understand." "Mr. DeLuca is different. He smiles now. He laughs. Yesterday I heard him humming while he worked." Elena felt heat creep up her neck. "I'm sure that has nothing to do with me." "Doesn't it?" Before Elena could answer, Rafe appeared in the kitchen doorway. "We need to move," he said urgently. "Now." Elena felt ice in her veins. "What's happening?" "Caruso's people are 5 minutes out. Armed convoy, coming straight for us." Maria grabbed Matteo and started toward the back stairs. Elena followed, her heart hammering against her ribs. "Where's Nico?" Elena asked. "Coordinating the defense. He wants you and the boy in the safe room." They reached the second floor as gunfire erupted outside. Elena heard glass breaking, men shouting orders. "This way," Rafe said, leading them down a hallway Elena had never seen before. He opened what looked like a linen closet. Inside was a hidden door that led to a small, windowless room lined with monitors showing security cameras. "Stay here," Rafe said. "Don't come out until I give you the all clear." "What about Nico?" Elena asked. "He can take care of himself." Rafe left, locking the door behind him. Elena pulled Matteo close as more gunfire echoed through the house. On the monitors, she could see men in black tactical gear surrounding the mansion. "It's okay," Elena whispered to Matteo. "We're safe here." Matteo pressed against her side, clutching his stuffed bear. Elena watched the monitors with growing terror. Nico's men were outnumbered 3-1. Bodies were falling on both sides. On one screen, she saw Nico himself, gun in hand, directing his people from behind an overturned table. Blood stained his white shirt. Elena's breath caught. "He's hurt." She watched Nico take cover as bullets shattered the wall above his head. He was trapped, cut off from his men. Elena felt panic rising in her throat. "They're going to kill him." On another monitor, she saw men in black approaching the main entrance. They had explosives. "The front door," Elena said. "They're going to blow it up." Elena looked at Matteo. Her brother's eyes were wide with terror, but he wasn't making a sound. "I have to help him," Elena said. Matteo grabbed her arm and shook his head frantically. "I know it's scary, but Nico saved us. Now we save him." Elena kissed Matteo's forehead. "Stay here. I'll be right back." Elena tried the door, still locked. She looked around the small room and found a fire axe mounted on the wall. 3 swings broke the lock. Elena ran down the hallway toward the main staircase. The house was chaos, smoke, gunfire, men shouting in languages she didn't recognize. She reached the first floor as the front door exploded inward. Elena ducked behind a marble pillar as men in black gear poured through the opening. She saw Nico across the room, still pinned behind the table. Elena looked around desperately. How could she help? She wasn't a fighter. She didn't even have a weapon. Then she saw the antique sword mounted on the wall behind her. She pulled it down, surprised by its weight. Not much of a weapon against assault rifles, but it was something. Elena waited until the nearest attacker's back was turned, then rushed him. She drove the sword between his shoulder blades. The man screamed and fell. Nico looked up in shock. "Elena, what the hell are you doing? Saving your life!" Elena grabbed the fallen man's rifle. She had never fired a gun in her life, but she had watched enough movies to know which end was dangerous. She pointed it at another attacker and pulled the trigger. Nothing happened. "Safety!" Nico shouted. "The safety!" Elena fumbled with the weapon until she found a switch. She tried again. This time the gun fired, kicking against her shoulder hard enough to knock her backward. She missed the target completely, but the sound drew attention away from Nico long enough for him to change position. "Stay down!" Nico yelled. Elena crouched behind her pillar as bullets chipped marble around her head. She was terrified, but also exhilarated. For the first time in her life, she was fighting back. The battle lasted another 10 minutes. When the gunfire finally stopped, Elena's ears were ringing and her hands were shaking. Nico appeared beside her, gun still drawn. "Are you hurt?" "I don't think so." Elena looked down at herself. Blood on her clothes, but she couldn't tell if it was hers or someone else's. "What were you thinking?" Nico's voice was angry and scared. "You could have been killed." "So could you. That's my job." "Well, maybe I don't want it to be your job anymore." Nico stared at her. "Elena, is it over?" Elena asked. "For now." Elena nodded and tried to stand. Her legs wouldn't support her. Nico caught her as she collapsed. "I've got you." Elena felt safe in his arms despite the chaos around them. "Matteo, I left him in the safe room." "I'll get him." But Matteo appeared at the top of the stairs, clutching his bear and looking around with wide eyes. Elena felt her heart stop. "Oh, God. Baby, are you okay?" Matteo ran down the stairs and threw himself into Elena's arms. She held him tight, breathing in the familiar scent of his hair. "We're okay," Elena said. "We're all okay." But as she looked around at the bodies scattered across Nico's beautiful entrance hall, Elena wondered how long that would remain true. Caruso was escalating. This attack was bolder, more violent than anything before. Next time, they might not be so lucky. Elena felt Nico's hand on her shoulder. She looked up at him and saw the same thought in his eyes. This war was far from over. And somewhere out there, Lorenzo Caruso was planning his next move. The mansion felt different after the attack. Elena noticed it in the way the staff moved through the halls, quicker, more alert. She saw it in the additional guards posted at every entrance. She felt it in the way Nico's shoulders stayed tense even when he smiled. 3 days had passed since the gunfight. Elena helped Vera coordinate the cleanup while Matteo drew pictures of the garden from his bedroom window. He seemed remarkably unaffected by the violence, but Elena caught him checking door locks compulsively. "He's stronger than you think," Nico said, finding Elena in the library that evening. Elena looked up from the book she wasn't really reading. "He's 8 years old. 8-year-olds are tougher than adults sometimes." Elena set the book aside. "Is that what you tell yourself about Isabella?" Nico's face went still. "That's different." "How?" "She didn't have a choice. Matteo does." Elena felt confused. "What choice?" Nico sat in the chair across from her. "He can choose to let fear control him, or he can choose to trust that we'll keep him safe." "And which is he choosing?" "Look at him. He's drawing, playing with Maria in the kitchen, sleeping through the night. He's choosing to trust." Elena studied Nico's face. "What about you? What are you choosing?" "I'm choosing to end this." Something in his voice made Elena's stomach clench. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm done waiting for Caruso to make the next move." "Nico. He came into my home, threatened my family." Nico's voice was deadly quiet. "There are consequences for that." Elena felt fear creeping up her spine. "What are you planning?" "Nothing you need to worry about. Everything you do affects us now. I need to know." Nico was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Tomorrow night Caruso is having a meeting at his restaurant downtown. All his lieutenants will be there. And I'm going to end the problem permanently." Elena's breath caught. "You're talking about killing all of them." "I'm talking about protecting my family." "By starting a massacre?" "By finishing a war." Elena stood up, anger flaring in her chest. "There has to be another way." "Name one." "Negotiation, compromise, anything that doesn't involve more killing." Nico shook his head. "You still don't understand what we're dealing with." "Then explain it to me." Nico stood and walked to the window. "When Isabella died, I tried negotiation. I tried compromise. I even tried paying Caruso to leave me alone." "What happened?" "He took my money and killed 3 more of my people. Then he sent me a photo of their bodies with a note saying I was next." Elena felt sick. Oh, God. Men like Caruso only understand one language: violence. "So you become just like him?" "I become whatever I need to be to protect the people I love." Elena felt her heart skip at the word love. "Nico." "I know what you're thinking, that I'm just another killer, just another criminal who chooses violence over reason." "Aren't you?" Nico turned to face her. "Maybe, but I'm your killer, your criminal." Elena felt heat flood through her body. "That's not—" "It is. You're mine, Elena, and I'm yours. Nothing Caruso does changes that." Elena stared at him, feeling everything inside her shift and settle into a new configuration. "You can't just claim me." "I'm not claiming you. I'm telling you what already exists." Elena felt her breath catch. "And what's that?" "Love." The word hung between them, dangerous and beautiful. Elena felt tears burn behind her eyes. "You can't love me." "Too late. We barely know each other." "I know you risked your life to save mine. I know you left your safe room to help me fight. I know you make my daughter's death feel less like an ending and more like a reason to keep living." Elena's tears spilled over. "Don't say things like that." "Why not?" "Because I might believe you." Nico stepped closer. "You should believe me." Elena backed away until she hit the bookshelf. "This is crazy." "Probably." "You're a dangerous man." "Definitely." "I should run away from you as fast as I can." "But you won't." Elena looked into his eyes and knew he was right. She wasn't going anywhere. "Why?" Elena whispered. "Because you love me too." Elena felt her walls crumbling. "I don't want to." "I know. It terrifies me. I know that too." Nico reached up and touched her cheek. Elena leaned into his hand before she could stop herself. "What happens to us?" Elena asked. "We figure it out together." "And tomorrow night, when you go after Caruso, you and Matteo stay here where it's safe." Elena felt panic rising in her throat. "What if something happens to you?" "It won't." "You can't promise that." "I can promise to come back to you." Elena felt more tears falling. "That's not good enough. It's all I have." Elena looked at this man who had turned her world upside down, this criminal who made her feel safer than anyone ever had, this killer who loved her brother and made her feel beautiful and wanted. She was completely, utterly lost. "I hate this," Elena said. "I know. I hate loving you." "I know that too." Elena stood on her toes and kissed him. Nico's arms came around her immediately, pulling her against him. Elena felt fire and safety, and coming home all at once. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "Elena," Nico started, "don't say anything. Just don't go tomorrow night." "I have to." "No, you don't. We could leave, all of us, disappear somewhere Caruso can never find us. Running won't solve this. Fighting might get you killed. And doing nothing definitely will." Elena felt trapped between love and terror. There has to be another option. There is. What? Nico's smile was sharp and dangerous. You could come with me. Elena's blood turned to ice. What? Caruso thinks you're my weakness. What if you're actually my strength? Absolutely not. Think about it. He's not expecting you to be there. You could... No. Elena's voice was firm. I'm not risking Matteo becoming an orphan. Matteo would be here, completely safe. And if we both die, then what? We won't die. You don't know that. Nico caught her hands. Elena, listen to me. This isn't just about revenge anymore. Caruso will never stop coming for us. The only way to truly protect you and Matteo is to end this permanently. Elena felt fear and logic warring in her mind. What exactly are you asking me to do? Be my partner in everything. Elena stared at him. You want me to become a criminal. I want you to help me save our family. Elena felt the weight of that word. Family. When had Nico become family? When had she started thinking of this as home? I need time to think, Elena said. We don't have time. Then we make time. Nico studied her face. What would convince you? Elena thought about it. Promise me Matteo will be protected no matter what happens. Done. Promise me you have a plan that doesn't end with both of us dead. I do. And promise me. Elena's voice caught. Promise me this isn't just about revenge for Isabella. Nico's hands tightened on hers. This is about building a future where the people I love can be safe and happy. Elena felt something settle in her chest. Okay. Okay. I'm in. Nico's eyes widened. You're sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. Nico kissed her again, harder this time. Elena kissed him back, pouring all her fear and love and determination into the connection between them. When they separated, Nico rested his forehead against hers. We're really doing this, Elena said. We're really doing this. Elena felt terrified and exhilarated at the same time. What's the plan? Nico smiled. First, we need to teach you how to shoot properly. Elena laughed despite herself. Great, gun lessons. Don't worry, you're braver than you know. Elena hoped he was right. Tomorrow night she would find out exactly how brave she could be. For Matteo, for Nico, for the strange, violent, beautiful family they were building together. Elena kissed Nico one more time, tasting danger and possibility on his lips. Whatever happened tomorrow, they would face it together. Elena just hoped they would both survive to see what came after. The war with Caruso was about to end, one way or another. Elena woke before dawn, her stomach churning with nerves. Today was the day. Tonight, everything would end. She found Nico in the kitchen, drinking coffee and reading reports. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. He looked up when she entered. Sleep at all? Elena asked. Some. You? Not really. Elena poured herself coffee with shaking hands. Where's Matteo? Still sleeping. Vera will watch him tonight. Elena nodded. They had explained to Matteo that she and Nico had business to handle. Her brother seemed to understand without needing details. Second thoughts? Nico asked quietly. Elena met his eyes. Every minute, but I'm still going. Something shifted in Nico's expression. Pride, maybe, or love. We should go over the plan again, Elena said. Nico spread photographs across the table. Caruso's restaurant has 2 entrances. Front door leads to the dining room. Back door leads through the kitchen. Which one do we use? Neither. We go through the roof. Elena felt her eyebrows rise. The roof? Service ladder leads to a skylight above the private dining room where they'll be meeting. And then what? You create a distraction. I handle Caruso and his people. Elena's stomach clenched. What kind of distraction? You walk into that dining room and demand to speak with Caruso. Just walk in by myself? You'll be wearing a wire. I'll hear everything. Elena felt panic rising in her throat. What if he kills me on sight? He won't. You're too valuable as leverage. That's not reassuring. Nico reached across the table and took her hand. Elena, look at me. Elena forced herself to meet his eyes. I will not let anything happen to you, Nico said. I promise. Elena wanted to believe him. How can you be sure? Because I'll be watching from the skylight. Anyone who threatens you dies instantly. Elena felt a chill at his casual tone. This was what loving Nico meant. Violence was always an option. What if there are too many of them? Elena asked. There won't be. But what if Elena? Nico's voice was gentle but firm. We've planned for every contingency. Trust me. Elena nodded, though fear still clawed at her chest. They spent the morning reviewing escape routes and contingency plans. Elena practiced with her gun until she could hit targets consistently. Nico drilled her on what to say to Caruso, how to position herself in the room. By afternoon, Elena felt as ready as she could be for something this insane. Matteo found them in the library, where Elena was trying to read but mostly staring at the same page. Her brother approached carefully and held out a folded piece of paper. What's this? Elena asked. Matteo pointed to her, then to Nico, then to himself. Elena unfolded the drawing. It showed the three of them standing together in front of the mansion. Nico's arm was around Elena's shoulders. Matteo was holding both their hands. Above them, Matteo had drawn a heart. Elena felt tears burn behind her eyes. It's beautiful, baby. Matteo smiled and hugged her tightly. Elena held him close, breathing in the scent of his hair. We'll be home soon, Elena whispered. Matteo pulled back and looked at her seriously. Then he pointed to himself and made a gesture Elena had seen before, his sign for I love you. Elena's heart broke and mended simultaneously. I love you too. Matteo turned to Nico and repeated the gesture. Elena watched Nico's face transform with wonder and pain. He knelt down to Matteo's eye level. I love you too, Nico said quietly. Both of you. That's why we have to do this. Matteo nodded solemnly, as if he understood the weight of what was happening. Elena felt the rightness of this moment settle in her bones. Whatever else happened tonight, they were family now. Evening came too quickly. Elena dressed in dark clothes and checked her gun for the 10th time. Nico wore black tactical gear that made him look even more dangerous than usual. Ready? He asked. Elena's mouth was dry with fear. No, but let's go anyway. They kissed goodbye in the entrance hall. Elena tried to memorize the feeling of Nico's lips on hers. See you on the other side, Nico said. You better. The drive to the restaurant took 20 minutes. Elena's hands shook the entire way. They parked 3 blocks away and approached on foot. The building was old brick with neon signs advertising Italian food. Elena could see warm light spilling from the windows. Inside those walls, the men who wanted to kill her family were having dinner. Second entrance is there, Nico said, pointing to an alley. Fire escape leads to the roof. I remember. Wait 15 minutes after I go up, then walk through the front door like you own the place. Elena nodded. What do I say to the hostess? That you're here to see Lorenzo Caruso about a mutual friend. And if she refuses? She won't. Caruso's been waiting for you to show up. Elena felt ice in her veins. He's expecting me? He's hoping for you. There's a difference. Nico kissed her once more, quick and fierce. 15 minutes. Elena watched him disappear into the alley. She checked her watch and tried to control her breathing. 14 minutes left. Elena walked around the block, keeping the restaurant in sight. Through the windows, she could see couples dining, families celebrating, normal people living normal lives. She envied them. 10 minutes. Elena touched the wire taped beneath her shirt. Nico would hear everything. He would know if she was in trouble. 5 minutes. Elena straightened her shoulders and walked toward the restaurant.